Sup, snakes? Do you remember when I made this video? Yeah, well, that video was incredibly controversial, and after I published it, I got a lot of out-of-pocket comments calling me a dum-dum and saying that Fallout is pure escapism and has nothing to do with American politics. Well, joke's on you, kids. The original creator of Fallout, Tim Kaine, published a video 2 days after my video, vindicating me. So we're going to go through his vindication video, I'm calling it. I know Tim didn't do this with the intent of vindicating me, but he did. And Tim, if you're watching this, thank you so much for being one of the masterminds of this beautiful game. It has gotten me through so many hard things in my life, including cancer. I just want to say I appreciate you, and your YouTube channel is fantastic. Guys, if you don't follow Tim and you follow me, something's wrong, because he does a video pretty much every day talking about things in the gaming industry, Fallout, being a dev, all these different things, and it's really fascinating. So without further ado, let's get into it. So y'all, do you remember when I said this?
Fallout is political. Go to the original developers of the game. They've also said this themselves.
They have said this themselves. They have. See that this video was posted on June 6th, 2023, and then Tim's was posted on June 8th, 2023. His video, which vindicates me. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to go through some of my points I made about Fallout being political and compare them to what Tim says are the inspirations on Fallout. It's not escapism, guys. It's real. I'm really glad that Tim posted. I love Tim's channel. He posts so many good things. He's really interesting to watch. Definitely go check them out. I will link this specific video in the description of my video. Go check him out. Tim is an amazing guy. He's super interesting. He's so knowledgeable, and he's willing to share all this information he has as somebody who's been in the gaming industry for as long as he has, and someone, who is one of the masterminds of Fallout. Love. I love it. So let's start it off. So here's what I said about one political element of Fallout, which is VaultTec and the military-industrial complex. Let's give you a little template or a little snippet. All right, here's what I said.
Fallout universe, which is the military-industrial complex causing this. The goal of the military, and remember, VaultTec is a subcontractor of the military, so obviously it would speak to their profit goals that having more war and all of these different things happening would actually benefit them, which is all aspects of when you look into military-industrial complex.
Ding! Military-industrial complex. What did Tim say about it, though? Let's listen to Tim and his take as the creator.
So VaultTec, which plays a big role in Fallout and all the subsequent games. Yep. It was a stereotype of every greedy, poorly managed defense contractor that flourished in the United States during the Cold War and after. The U.S. still has one of the biggest defense budgets in the world. I think it's bigger than the next 2 or 3 combined. So it still exists today. So I think we all see a little VaultTec in
we do,
these
Tim.
defense companies.
What did he say? What did he say? I know, I'm being animated. I'm being spicy. I'm going to get people pissed in my comments again. You guys go off. I would rather you be pissed and take out your anger here on this video than in other aspects of your life where you could cause negative impact on people you see in your day-to-day. Be angry at me, the random girl on the internet with the caution hat who likes video games. Fine, whatever. I don't care. I can take it, man. I've been a content creator for a long time and I have heard it all. So take it out on me. But I'm just saying. Tim confirmed that VaultTec, which is what I was talking about in that military-industrial complex segment, is a bloated defense contractor. I didn't invent that. This man did. So okay, and that's political. If you Google anything about defense contracts, anything like that, that is an inherently political concept in the United States. So just throwing that out there. Oh, I want to include his note here. Ready?
All these defense companies. We just wanted to make fun of those.
Make fun of.
Make
fun of, guys. Make fun of. Commentary. Make fun of. All right. So in this segment, Tim is talking about like the art inspiration and how a lot of it like came from Cold War era, and like that makes sense considering a lot of the themes are similar to what we experienced during the Cold War, like the Red Scare and like this panic at communism and things like that, which I did touch on in my video, but I'll give you a little bit of that clip. This is specific to like the art style inspiration, but like clearly all of Fallout is inspired by, you know, Cold War era stuff. So
looked at Cold War era posters, and they also looked at comic books, especially the front covers.
Yeah, so, you know, he's discussing here the art inspiration, specifically Cold War era posters, and you see that reflected in like beyond the original Fallout games, which he more had a hand in, but like in the newer Fallout games too, where, you know, you get a lot of propaganda posters, things like that. Cold War era posters are propaganda, right? I meant, yeah, right? Okay. So in this segment, he is talking about like inspirations for the giant mutated creatures, which I think is really interesting because he has this little offhand comment that talks about hubris, which I think is interesting. So I'm gonna play that real quick.
Creatures caused by radiation, and to punish the mankind for having hubris. That was stuff we wanted to do.
Right. So he's, you know, I mean, this is like a little bit of an offhand comment in this video, but I think it says a lot of like the inspiration for these games. Like, it's interesting too, because my brain can't help but like tie into what happened recently with the submarine implosion and everything like that with Stockton Rush and all that. Like having all this hubris leads to your demise, essentially, is like that what he's talking about in concept here. And I think that's like super interesting to bring up. And I did bring that up in my original political video, because when you think about it in this context of what he's saying, right, specifically right here, is the giant creatures were a punishment for humans having hubris, the hubris in relation to creating all these nuclear weapons and developing all this so far, because the creatures were created by radiation, which he says in quotes here, which is exactly like, that's the punishment, you know, like they went too far, you know. I think it's also kind of pertinent with Oppenheimer coming out in the next couple of weeks here. Just an observation, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, like that is, in my mind, a political statement. Like, yes, there's a lot of goofy elements in Fallout. It's very funny. It's very silly. It has a lot of fun stuff like that too. But, you know, there is inspiration in reality in it. And I think it's impossible to deny it, especially when the creator's telling you it, guys. Okay, but we're going to continue on with more points. Okay, in this segment, he specifically talks about the war. I'm going to play that back a little bit higher speed, just so, you know, we can get through it a little bit faster here. But again, go listen to his whole video. It's amazing. It's not just political stuff he talks about, but that's what I'm picking out because that's the topic of what I'm talking about. So here we go.
We talked about we needed a big, scary, evil communist state since we were basing Fallout on being capitalistic. Russia had already declined so much in the 80s that we went with China because it fit the bill. The movie Red Dawn was inspirational about the U.S. being invaded.
And don't forget, this came out in 1997. So, or 1990, I think it was 1997 or 1998. So the late 90s, coming right off the back of the Cold War. Like, you have to like kind of contextualize that historically where they're at here in developing the original game. So,
except we just used China instead of Russia. I know the movie War Games had displays that showed the coast of the U.S. being nuked and Russian subs off the coast. So we were like, hey, let's have Chinese subs. The movie On the Beach. So, okay, you get a pretty good idea here of what he's talking about in the context of comparing it to the Cold War. I think that is something that I covered extensively on my video, and let me find a little segment for you. So in that segment, he specifically talked about capitalism. So we're gonna, you know, I talk about capitalism in my segment here. So
capitalism, which also rolls into the commentary of Fallout into consumerism. If you look at overconsumption, it is a big theme throughout Fallout.
Yeah. So again, the point, like this point is something clearly that Tim has brought up in his video. And, you know, Tim releasing this video is nothing new. He's maintained this for a very long time. You could also, if you really want to, I'm a nerd. Go through Josh Sawyer's Twitter. There's archives of stuff he's since deleted as well, but it's not like, it's like pretty innocuous. You know, like what the games are actually commentary on. And many other devs have talked about this either in interviews or lightly, casually on the internet, or very specifically on the internet as well. It's political commentary. It's not full blown escapism. There are escapism elements, I will give you that, but it's also commentary, you know, and that's okay. Commentary's cool, y'all. I like commentary, as I said in my original video. But let us continue. I just really liked this comment he made here about quests. I'm gonna play it real quick because I do think it feeds into my greater thesis of this video. So
quests that have a moral dilemma in them, and
I really like that. Like, I really like that idea of, like, there is morality, there is politics, there is, like, all these different things innate in this game that are, like, thought-provoking for a reason. He goes on to talk about a quest where a boy wants you to save his dog, but it turns out to be rabid. Like, this kind of thing is it's very political. I mean, like, the moral dilemma thing is not necessarily always political, but I think what Tim is saying here feeds into my overall thesis of this video. But we will continue. You know what? Actually, here's a little bit more about what he says in this segment, because I think it's compelling.
A post-apocalyptic world has quests that provide moral dilemmas that aren't necessarily resolvable always in the best way. Sometimes the best solution is still kind of, that stuck with me.
That sticks with me too. Tim is a absolute cool dude. Like, I'm so glad that he's so active on YouTube, because everything he posts is so interesting, and he just seems like I want to hang out with him. He seems like fun. Like, I really like that concept, and I have talked about this in my previous video, and I've talked about it elsewhere, is that, like, a lot of what compels me to play these games is the fact that it makes you think. And I think he's expressing that in that statement, in my opinion, that, like, providing this moral dilemma, like, there's no good, perfect solution, you know? And I think that, you know, even that is, like, innately political. You know, we've defined political ad nauseum. I don't think we need to do it again. But I love that concept because it's so palpable throughout these games. And it like, for me, having these things that are moral dilemmas or references to outside of the, like, real world, all this stuff, feels so interesting to me. It like makes me think. And for me, that kind of thing is not necessarily escapism. It connects to it's like salient to my everyday life. I can see these things that are referenced in Fallout. I could see this, like, there's no, like, black and white and what's good and bad in the real world, just as there isn't in Fallout either. You know, like, even in Fallout 3, which in a lot of people's opinions is, like, the game where there's good and evil, right? You can do certain quests that make you have good karma and do certain quests that make you have bad karma. Even within that, like, you could look at the Brotherhood of Steel. Now, they're not as extreme as they are under Maxon's rule in Fallout 4, but in Fallout 3, like, they're still exclusionary of ghouls. They still don't really help the ghouls that are in Underworld. You know, they're exclusionary of smart super mutants as well. And, like, yes, siding with them gives you good karma, but they still do crappy things. Like, there is no perfect solution to all of these different problems, which is so salient to the real world. It's so evident. Like, look at any political issue and be like, there's no perfect answer to any of these things. There's no, like, ultimate good or ultimate bad. And I love that idea within Fallout. And I think, for me personally, that's what makes it such a compelling game to play, and why I think it, you know, is political in nature. Because there is no perfect answer to a lot of questions that are posed in this game, and it makes you think. And I don't think escapism in a video game necessarily is meant to make you think. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe there is escapism that is meant for you to just switch your brain off and, like, but how do you have moral dilemmas in escapism? You know what I mean? Yeah. I wish I had, like, a better way of articulating that. But, like, for me, that is such an interesting concept. So let us continue. So here's another statement he makes about Fallout being like the 50s, which is very evident. I think this is just more artistic, but I do think it's an interesting point. I want to play it for you.
Leonard had that inspirational, let's make it the way the 50s were. There was really no going back.
Yeah, I think that's a really good, like, way of, like, putting it too. It's very interesting. He's talking about that in the context of, like, they weren't making a Wasteland 2, they were doing their own separate thing. And I think the fact that they didn't go back from that does influence a lot of the different elements and a lot of the different like politics in the game and things like that. So you know, it's very fascinating to hear Tim talk about this because, you know, I mean, he made the game. Like, it's so interesting too. And again, I can't sing the praises of Tim's YouTube and just like everything he's done. He's so interesting and he's such an open guy on that channel. And he posts literally daily. The dude is pumping out videos like, and he just talks and he's very like eloquent in his discussion of everything. Super fun. Not as like manic, highly caffeinated as your girl, but that's fine, you know? So I really wanted to play this for you guys because I just thought everything he was saying in this was so compelling. And again, this video is not just about political influences on Fallout. I didn't play those segments because they're not pertinent to my video, but I highly, highly, highly encourage you to go back and watch his full video. It's so interesting. He's such an interesting guy. And of course, subscribe to him if you don't already. If you don't subscribe to him and you subscribe to me, something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on with you? Are you good, girl? You good? Okay. Like, thank you, Tim, for this video, though, honestly, because I felt like I was like in my comments, like, oh my God, I don't really want to fight with everybody. I don't want to have like this moral debate either, really, with everybody, because that's exhausting. But, you know, I think this does point to the fact that Fallout's political, it has moral dilemmas, it is, it's a game that is not pure escapism, and I think there is elements of escapism because it's not reality, but it could be where we're headed to in some regards, obviously not in all. And I just, you know, I thought it was interesting to go through his video. I did see it after he posted it. It's been crazy this last month or so. So yeah, thank you so much for watching again, my lovelies, my babies. I am so close to freaking getting monetized on this channel. Again, not ad revenue monetized, but the other one. YouTube, you little stinker, you make it hard. I really should have been doing YouTube this whole 12 years that I've been creating content, but I'm not. I wasn't, and now I am. I've learned the error of my ways. So all that to say, go watch 2 of my videos, and be sure to do all the subs everywhere and have a safe and wonderful day in the wasteland. My babies, love ya.